Hey everybody, it's your friendly neighborhood Star Wars geek back once again, and we're going to be doing another little product review, or just looking at some of the materials that we use. And this is, today we're going to be looking at, as you can see, some different types of cyanoacrylate glue, or CA glue. A lot of times, something like CA glue is used by just about every kind of hobbyist, whether you're doing customizing action figures, putting model kits together, even miniature, like Warhammer 40,000 and miniature wargaming figures and things like that. They all have to be glued together. So something like CA glue is something that everybody is basically using in their hobby. Oops. Sorry about that. Something that everyone's using in their hobby, and there's not really much attention paid to it. It's something that you can just pick up almost anywhere. You can walk into Walmart or Target and you can pick up Loctite glue. You can pick up Zap-A-Gap glue in Hobby Lobby or in Michael's or things like that. And those glues work. I'm not saying they don't, but what you can see in front of you now is a selection of glues from Bob Smith Industries. bSi Inc. is a company that does nothing but adhesives and glues and things like that, and they're basically they have an entire line aimed at hobbyists. And I contacted them, and they were nice enough to send me a few samples of their glue to test out and to share with everybody. And I've been using them for a couple of weeks now. Instead of using the like the Loctite or the Zap-A-Gap that I normally would pick up when I go out to pick up things for my hobby. And I have to say that they really do work just as well, maybe even better than some of the other glues that I've had or I've used over the last couple of years. So like I said, I wanted to just go through some of the glues that you see in front of you here. These right here are your basic CA glues. This one is the Instacure Minus. It says on the bottle there, a super thin CA glue, and they're not kidding when they say super thin. I mean, this stuff is thinner than water, and if you're not careful, it will run all over the place. Trust me, it will. But again, it works really well, and it's really good if you have a really tight space and you need to drop a little bit of glue into an area where there's not a huge gap, or you don't have a lot of room. You want something to have a really tight bond and there's not a lot of room to play with. Something like that is really good. Now this one here, the Ultra Cure, it says tire glue on there, but it's really just a regular CA glue. It's a medium viscosity, which means it's kind of in between the thin and the next one here, which is the gap filling, which is a thicker kind of glue. This is basically like what you would find if you bought a bottle of Loctite or Zap-A-Gap glue. It's basically around that viscosity. It's a medium thickness. Now, like I said, this one here, this is the Instacure Plus. This is a gap filling glue. This is good if you're trying to join two pieces that maybe they don't fit perfectly together, and a glue like this would leave a gap there. You have a little empty space in between your two pieces. Since this glue is a thicker viscosity, it will actually fill in the gap, and you won't have to worry about using a green stuff or an Aves product to fill in any openings that you might have left behind. And then there is the Maxi Cure, which is an extra thick CA glue, and it kind of just goes one step up on the gap filling type of glue. Again, just a regular CA glue. Most of them, as you see, they'll form their bond in anywhere between 15 to 30 seconds. But if you check on the back, they'll give you like the directions and the instructions, and they'll tell you on the back that most of them won't form a full strength bond for at least about 2 hours. Alright. So like I said, I mean, I've been using these for the past couple of weeks, and they really work well. This is another one of their glues. This is the IC 2000, and as you might be able to tell, it's black, which is not something that you're going to find in a glue at Walmart. It comes in very handy if you're gluing two pieces together that are both a darker color or both might be black, and you need something that maybe, you know, it's not going to dry clear, because it's going to dry like a, you know, this really dark black color, which is it comes in handy for certain applications. Alright, and then I have this one here, which is an Instacure IC Gel. Now this is thicker even than what they have here, the extra thick. This is like a paste. You can actually use this if you're working on a vertical surface. You can use the IC Gel because it's so thick that it won't run on your vertical surfaces. Alright. Then they also have a couple of products that other companies like Loctite they don't have. Now you have something like this, which is a foam safe glue. Alright, which is good for gluing together foam core board. I mean, a lot of people use hot glue, and hot glue is great, but if you don't have a hot glue gun or you don't want to mess with a hot glue gun, you can use the foam cure, or you can use this here, the Super Gold Plus. It's actually 100% foam safe, and it's a CA glue. Alright. They also sent me a 5-minute epoxy, which, oops, move these out of the way, which I actually have not used yet. I don't really have much use for epoxy, only when I'm doing like larger pieces. But I mean, you know, epoxy is a great material to use if you're gluing together larger pieces, so you need something that's got a really strong bond. You know, like a 5-minute epoxy is going to be exactly what you need. They have this here, this material. It's called Instaset, and what you do with this is once you apply the glue, you can spray some of this on there. What I like to do is actually use a spare paintbrush. I buy some paintbrush sets from Walmart. I think you get like 30 brushes for $1. They're what I consider disposable brushes, and I'll use a brush to apply something like Instaset, which is a CA accelerator, to one side of this, you know, one piece that's being bonded, and then put the glue on the other piece that's being bonded, and push the two pieces together. Like I mentioned, when using the, you know, some of these CA glues, you usually have about 15 to 30 seconds before your bond is going to really start taking effect and your pieces are going to start sticking together. When you use something like the Instaset, it's not called Instaset for no reason. You're literally going to push those pieces together, and within 4 seconds you're not going to be able to get them apart. So if you're going to use the Instaset, you really need to make sure that you have your pieces lined up and you push them together exactly where they're supposed to be, because once you push them together, you're probably not going to be able to get them apart. And then last but not least is a product that I luckily did not have to use, but it's called the Uncure, which is basically just something that's going to break down the bond between two pieces that have been glued together. You know, it's it'll probably be good to remove some of the glue from your skin. If you glue your fingers together, you can apply some of this and it'll loosen the bond between your fingers. Like I said, luckily for me, I didn't have to use any of this over the past several weeks. But who knows, I might need to use it at some point in the future. Hopefully not. But anyway, like I said, this is a selection of adhesives and glues from Bob Smith Industries. I want to just thank Charlie from Bob Smith Industries for sending out this package of some samples to me. And like I said, you know, for hobbyists, it's really good stuff. You know, I mean, I think it works better than your typical average you know, super glue. But like I said, it's stuff that you can buy in Walmart or stuff that you can buy in Hobby Lobby from you know, Zap-A-Gap and Loctite. I mean, those products work fine, I think some of this stuff is going to work. It works better because it's made specifically for, you know, RC cars and hobbies and things like that. So I mean, it's made to work with the types of materials that we're using, the Lexan plastics, the plastics that the figures are made out of. You know, you're gonna find that it works better. It's gonna bond better. It's gonna give you a more stable bond. For me, like I said, I've been using them for the last couple of weeks, and it works better from what I've seen. It works better than using just a regular old Loctite glue. You know, I mean, your mileage may vary, but I would definitely say, you know, I'll put links down below to their website where they'll have some of the vendors and some of the stores that sell their products, so you can easily find them on Amazon. You can find them on eBay. You know, but I would definitely say if you're looking to, you know, upgrade from the glue that you're currently using, if you're using the, you know, Loctite or Zap-A-Gap, you know, take a look at this. Take a look at some of the Bob Smith adhesives, some of the CA glues and things like that. Especially, like I said, like some of these, you know, the foam glues. You're not going to find this with Zap-A-Gap. You know, you're not going to find that Zap-A-Gap is going to eat your foam, where the Super Gold Plus isn't going to eat the foam. If you try to use it to adhere 2 pieces of foam core, or even 2 pieces of insulation, 2 pieces of foam insulation, it's not going to eat that away like a CA glue, like a regular CA glue would. Alright, well, that's it for today. Like I said, just going to do a quick little product review on some of these adhesives that Bob Smith Industries sent me to take a look at and to use for a little while. And that's it.
That's crispy.